Welcome in to the CHGO Bears Postgame Show.
Tough one, man.
Presented by PointsBet. Use the promo code CHGO to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Well, guys, at least there was the opening drive of the game. The Bears were winning there for a minute.
What a magical moment.
Yeah. It was a nice drive.
It was, and I got to tell you, Braggs was so unbelievably excited at that point that I honestly, at that moment when they were up 7-3, I thought we were winning the Super Bowl. At least the energy in here, it was huge. You looked at me like, this is unbelievable. He's jumping all, gonna like eat the TV. Woots. Everyone's in a great mood. That was the moment.
And then an hour and a half later, he was threatening flipping over the glass table.
You moved your laptop real quick.
I was like, no.
I got it all in the notes for in a bit here, but yeah, that was fun for a second.
Yeah, for a hot second, I was like, okay, Getsy, the play calling looked great, right? I bounced back after the start last week, the way he scripted everything, and then dun.
Braggs,
got it.
Yeah, hanging in there, buddy.
Hey, I'm fine. I got to eat the crow a little bit. I picked them to win, and I did believe it. Wasn't gas.
You said you were more confident than you've ever been in your entire life.
This is what we go through as fans, right?
Yeah.
I knew, man. Aaron Rodgers, I'm telling you, he has the Bears.
I know. I'm actually mad at myself, too, because I've been on like a 4-year run of refusing to pick the Bears in this game because Aaron Rodgers is inevitable. And I just thought it was the right time.
We tricked you. Bears Twitter tricked you into this one.
Yeah, see? I'm going back to the dark side, Braggs.
You got to listen to your heart.
I don't think I was ever on the dark side.
No, we got winnable games going.
All right, hey, welcome into the Bears Postgame Show. We are still excited to be here with you and breaking this thing down. We'll bring you all the way through it, the good, the bad. Today, a lot of ugly, too, as well. I'm Adam Hoge, alongside Mark Carman, Corey Wootton, Greg Braggs Jr. We're still going to bring the fire for you here as long as we need to. And we're going to start right now with Blame Game. Okay, so when the Bears win, we will give you game balls. We will hand out game balls. When they lose, we're going to play the blame game. Carm, let's start with you.
So mine is a little bit of a 50,000-foot blame game view. And I was excited that the Bears got a win in week 1. I was looking forward to tonight. I'm a little bit flustered right now, like that for whatever reason.
You look like you have a headache.
Yeah, like I'm just like, who the hell did even play in week 1? I don't even remember right now. They won. That's how flustered I am at this moment. But look, the whole season, the whole point of this is that the Chicago Bears need to develop a quarterback so they can win a Super Bowl. I don't care if there was a freaking monsoon at Soldier Field last week, and I don't care that tonight they were way more effective running the football. None of that matters. You have to develop Justin Fields. 28 passes in 2 games, and tonight
11, right? 11 passes. 7 of 11. Yep.
Let me just make sure that I want to double check your work. That's right. 7 of 11 for 70 yards.
Yeah.
He was 5 of 6 in the first half.
It's just you're missing the big picture. It's about Fields. Let him throw the football 11 times. Come on, man. And Justin's got to play better, much better.
Yeah.
Darnell Mooney is open. He's throwing a bomb 80 feet over him. Braggs, you made a great point about it. That ball's got to be to the side where he had the defender beat. Let him try to run it down. There were moments where the interception wasn't great, and the other play. Hey, Justin, like I seriously, like the high school quarterback moment. You're 5 yards in front of the line of scrimmage. Okay, call it 3, but dude, I couldn't believe that he didn't have a sense of where he's at. So it's like, are the lights too big? They shouldn't be too big for him.
Oh, the one where he threw over.
I mean,
he threw the ball well past the line.
My
of scrimmage.
grandmother, who passed away, 30 years ago, she knew that he was over the line of scrimmage. I mean, come on.
I think what's concerning about that is like he didn't even slow down. He didn't even seem to have the awareness that he was close to the line.
Look to the sideline.
Like if he tried to slow down last second and then he happened to be across, I'm like, okay, he's trying to make a play. I think it was third down too. Yeah. Or maybe it wasn't, but that was bad.
Exactly.
Corey,
just run and slide and take another one, just like the pick at the end, right?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, he was covered there, right?
Yeah.
Just scramble.
Yeah, take your
slide.
7-8 yards, slide, go to the next play.
Yeah, live to play another play.
Yeah.
So that's the big thing. But yeah, you can't develop him as a quarterback and only throw the ball 11 times. I know the running game is going, but you have to allow him to have some growth there in the passing game.
Right, and I mean,
I hate to say it though, they only had 41 offensive plays.
Yeah,
and Cole Kmet catch the football, and we're short on weapons as it is. But I still, it's like it's painful to look at that stat line and be like, all right, I mean,
we'll have more coming up on fields.
Yeah,
Corey, what's your blame game?
So the Bears defense, not setting the edge. We talked about that.
You talked about pregame.
From the defensive line to the linebackers to Brisker at times to Gordon, right? Just not setting that edge. And Jones and company, they went off on them. I mean, they averaged almost 6 yards a pop. Jones had almost 9 yards a pop himself. Like, they just could not stop the run. And you look at a game and you look at the stat sheet and you say, Aaron Rodgers didn't really beat us. Running backs did, right? If you look at that stat line, holding Aaron Rodgers under 250 yards and only 2 touchdowns, you got to think, hey, I got a chance. But they couldn't stop the run. Aaron Rodgers didn't even have his best performance, and we weren't even close.
We had that conversation, by the way, and leading up to the season. Everyone's like, "Who are you more concerned about, the offensive line or the defensive line?" And
I'll be honest, I wasn't that concerned coming in this game. I think that's why Corey and I were so disappointed the whole game watching it. It's like they were jumping inside, and the Packers were beating them consistently on the edge. They seem to be targeting Kyler Gordon both in the passing game, but especially I thought in the running game. Like they were like running whichever side he lined up to, they were running towards him.
Remember that running play at the end of the game where he's supposed to set the edge, and what is he, 10 yards off the ball? He's supposed to be the edge on the line of scrimmage, having the tight end man-to-man if he goes out for a pass. He's 10 yards down the field. Yeah. It's an obvious run play. His tight end's blocking, and he's standing there. Yeah. And all of a sudden, they run right by him. So that was it's very surprising because Eberflus, his defense is disciplined, right? They're going to stop the run. And in the past 2 weeks, we really haven't seen that. They did it in the second half against the 49ers, but as a whole, this rush defense has been poor, and it's very surprising, right? Because that stuff, guys getting out of their gaps that we saw, guys getting reached. And the thing is, people say, well, if you have penetration in the backfield, right, and you get push in there, it almost doesn't matter if you're getting reached, but we didn't see penetration, and we saw those guys getting reached. So if you don't have penetration in there, they're going to be able to run all day.
Rags, where's your blame tonight?
My blame game's got to be the run game. Understand your, 5,000 feet, 50,000 feet view of the quarterback, and that's all that matters for this season. I agree, but you're never going to be able to develop this quarterback if you don't have a balanced attack. You can't expect them to get more than 11 pass plays if it's 3 and out every time. And then the few times they do get some stuff going on the run game, they're running out of shotgun. Yep. Especially it was highlighted on the goal line. On 4th down and goal, you're on the inch-yard line, and you run out of shotgun. Yes, the replay showed, in my opinion, he did cross the goal line. But it would have been so much easier to just get under center and sneak it in or hand it to David Montgomery, who was in beast mode that entire drive. The running game, could have been even more than what we saw from it today on the first drive and then in the second half when David Montgomery took the game over. So, to me, if we want Justin Fields to become the quarterback he is, you got to give him the help he needs. You just can't drop back and throw it 50 times. They did that with Mitch Trubisky, and he completely failed. I'm not saying that Justin Fields is Mitch. I'm just saying for this to work, that's why Matt Nagy's not here anymore. Because he had no idea how to run the ball. I didn't come here to run the I formation. Well, these guys come in here and they bring a fullback. They bring 2 tight end sets in the preseason. They show these things that what Bears football should be, especially right now in Justin Fields' development at this stage. So get under center, get the I formation going, and then you can play off of that, and then things will open up for Justin Fields. It can't just go to 202, as Nagy used to say, right away. You got to build it, at a step-by-step basis, and tonight they missed the boat completely on running the ball, and that's where I put the blame game.
I don't, real quick, guys, I don't like the gun runs, especially we talked about this in like third and short situations, even second and short, right?
Yeah, you called it on second and short earlier.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't like this, right? Yeah. You got to have the fullback in there, go downhill, and especially on the goal line. Why are they treating Justin Fields like he's Tim Tebow in there? Yeah, right. You're 4th and inches. He gets the ball, he pitter-pats his feet, and then goes forward. Like Justin Fields isn't 250 pounds. He's not running over people like that. So I didn't understand that call.
What was it, Mitchell Schwartz or whatever on Twitter? I think he pointed out, and I completely agreed with him too. They pulled the guard. Yeah. And why? Just go forward.
Inches.
It's a long. When you pull the guard, it's a developing play. If everything works correctly, it looks beautiful. But there's a lot that can go wrong in a play like that. Just keep it simple, stupid.
As a defensive lineman, you love when they're pulling a guard on the goal line in inches or short situations. Because if you get penetration, that disrupts everything.
Yeah, he can't go anywhere. Yeah. I can't. That was my blame game. So we're good. they said everything I need to say. I was going to go off on Getsy. I was going to go off on Getsy for that. Yeah. I thought that was just a ridiculous, horrendous play call. Yeah, I mean, you're just right there. Why call an actual QB sneak, not a 5-yard quarterback sneak? That doesn't make any sense. You have a fullback on your roster who, by the way, was crushing dudes on that drive. He was a huge reason why Montgomery was picking up all those yards. Then you get the extra added part of the guard pulling, which just clogs everything up in the middle. I think Fields probably missed the lane he probably should have taken anyway. It was so bad that I wasn't even that mad that I think the refs got the replay wrong because –
yeah, it was just a bad play call.
It was a terrible play call.
But let's all take just a deep breath for 1 second and just think for who. But I'm serious. Who was the best player on the Bears tonight? This is not a hard question.
David
Montgomery. He averaged 8 yards a freaking carry tonight. If you're not gonna, you have two options. You can sneak it with Fields, that's fine, or give the ball to David Montgomery.
Downhill run.
I mean, with your blasting game. I mean, dude, that was.
He's gonna get an inch. He is going to get in. There was times where he was tackled in the backfield, ends up getting 10, 12 yards.
Well, even part of the reason they were in that position to begin with, having to go for it on 4th down, was because they didn't run the ball very well on 1st and 2nd down once they got to goal to go. Right. He still picked up 2 yards on those plays.
Right.
Exactly. They still got enough that they could have run it right there. It
was super disappointing when he got 2 yards.
Yeah. Which would have been a yard and 3/4 more than they actually needed.
He's getting in there.
I'm completely fine with the sneak, but just get under center and go right there instead of you're 5 yards back on the shotgun. You're pulling a guard. That's not how you sneak it. Sneak it the right way.
Have the fullback behind him and then just push Justin Fields in the end zone. Touchdown. You're moving on.
Also, it looked like Cole Kmet was like pulling his guy off of Fields instead of pushing the whole pile forward.
Yeah, I didn't understand.
What was that?
I'm like, you're hurting the progress.
He's like trying to pull the guard off him. No, push him.
Because as much of an ass whooping as it felt like, they scored that touchdown. It's a 7-point game with 8 minutes to play.
I don't get the Cole Kmet thing. I just don't get it. Go ahead.
We got super chats flying in here. Let's John Davis. Running a shotgun run on 4th and inches when you have a fullback is wild to me. Got to be better and throw more than 11 times in 4 quarters.
Thank you.
I'm with you, man. What else we got here?
You speak truth, John.
Nolan, LOL. How different would the game have been if we kept going to Montgomery? Should we just be calling plays for Justin and hope he improves? I mean, they did go to Montgomery in the second half.
But I just think Adam Johns pointed it out. After the first drive where he dominated, they scored a touchdown. Yeah. He had only had 1 carry until the second half after that. That's unacceptable.
Well, it is and it isn't. I'm willing to honestly, I think the Bears not being able to stop the run was more to blame for that than anything. Because they didn't have the ball. They really didn't have any plays in the first half.
Exactly.
And then when they did start those drives, unfortunately they had a sack on 1st down, which you could blame on not running the ball. They could have run the ball there, and it was a pass play, and he got sacked. And then the second drive, they had a false start. You can't start drives that way on 1st down.
Which also...
It puts you in passing situations right away.
Right. Hits principle... you all are supposed to be the fundamental of fundamental teams, and they weren't
didn't
tonight.
see that at all. Eyes in the backfield constantly. Same thing as last week, right?
Yeah.
Like Gordon and company, Eddie Jackson, right? That big pass to Sammy Watkins, right? What is Eddie Jackson has help over the top, classic Tampa 2, right? It wasn't. We thought it was on Gordon at first, then we looked at it.
Yeah,
back.
you look at it, and
Eddie
he's
Jackson
sucked in.
has his eyes two steps in there. Watkins is right by him, so you got to have help. He's got to have his eyes on his key. He didn't have that, and that's going through the whole defense as a whole.
A lot of people pointing out the loafs. We might need a new segment. Do we have a loaf of bread in the kitchen area? We need a loaf of bread out here. Just start handing them out. Last super chat, at least for right now. I'm sure we'll have more coming through as the show goes on. But Mark says, was it just me or was the NBC crew annoying? Packers beat the Bears. What's new? I mean, they're not wrong, but come on, shake my head. I did make a comment when Tirico said that at the end.
People are getting all hyped on. Don't let Tirico bother you. That's
It-
water off a duck's back.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey, we got to eat it until we can prove we can beat
exactly.
them.
Yeah.
Exactly. Everything leading up to
I don't like it, but
Yeah, what
They
Rodgers
cover
said,
10.5.
what Rodgers said last year, I mean, that was the ultimate sign of disrespect. So they're going to constantly talk about it, especially when he backs it up, right? Like you got
and the players can't accept it. They got to take it personal and come out next game,
Yeah.
Bears-Packers game with a better attitude.
have a chip on their
But
shoulder.
right. I mean, the Packers fans are chanting Bears still suck
gotta
at the end
prove
of the
it.
game.
You gotta
And guess
prove it,
what? Until we beat them, let them chant it, and then one day we'll have their number, but it ain't today. I said it one day, Mark. We will have their number.
I listen. If you want to be, we can do glass half full for at least 30 seconds here. The Bears got very little to nothing from their passing game tonight. They got gashed in the run game. But we all agree that Justin Fields did cross the plane on a terrible play call.
Right.
That's a one-score game late in the fourth quarter with
That's why I'm blaming Getsy for the play call.
Yeah.
That was your chance to get back in the game, and you blew it.
Put all the pressure on Rodgers.
I mean, you're in a one-score game with $100+ million in salary cap and probably a high draft pick and everything coming.
Yeah.
If you want to try to see the future in a positive way, there's definitely ways to do it tonight.
they didn't really let go of the rope.
Right. You're playing with house money. You beat the Niners, which I now remember. But the quarterback has to come along here.
Exactly.
So we got 15 games to go, but we got to start seeing some progress.
All right. Got a lot coming up here. We're going to check in, obviously, with Nick. Once he's done with the locker room situation in Lambeau, we'll get the locker room report from Nick. We'll also check in here with Will DeWitt in a minute to hear his thoughts on the game. But first, we got to bring in our Fields guide. It is brought to you by Greenridge Farm, our weekly breakdown of Justin Fields. Carm already lit into him.
I mean,
so.
I gotta be paying more attention. This is coming. I got nothing left.
7 of 11, 70 yards. The one interception at the end. 3 sacks that cost him 22 yards, and then in the rushing category, didn't hit the over on that one, guys.
Yeah,
ended up 8 carries only for 20.
8 carries too. I would have bet the house that he would have gotten there on 8 carries.
I think the biggest thing that we saw was something he did last year, right? Hold on to the ball too long, right? Towards the games he did well last year, right? You look at that Pittsburgh Steelers game, early on in the Detroit Lions game at home. He got the ball out quick. He had that internal clock. And you thought with Getsy coming here, coaching Rodgers and the Packers, they always have that drill in practice where they have the air horn going out to get the ball out quicker, right? So if he's dropping back there, his first read's there, his second read's not there, he's either got to throw it away, scramble out of bounds. You can't do that. He held onto the ball too long and took bad sacks out there.
Right. The flea flicker, he didn't go. Obviously, they were looking to go deeper downfield. He takes the throw that was there to St. Brown. That's like, okay, that's a positive. But then, in the second half, I mean, it was highlighted. We talked about it as the game was going on. Darnell Mooney, they go for the deep shot. It's there, and you're trying to lead him to the end zone when you need to lead him to the sideline and even keep the throw a little short just so Darnell can come and get it. He's got inside leverage on the DB. And Aaron Rodgers has the exact same throw a series or two later, and he puts it right where it needs to be, the exact spot that Justin Fields didn't hit it in. So if you want to talk about where he's at developmentally, that's where he's got to get better at, those kind of things. Ball placement. There was the Darnell Mooney where they threw the little screen to the outside. Probably wasn't going to go for much. The DB recognized it and shot the gap crossing Cole Kmet. But at the same time, Justin Fields' ball placement was right at his feet, so Darnell Mooney couldn't get going with any kind of momentum. So ball placement, getting the ball out quickly, those are things he's definitely got to work on.
Yeah, the holding on to the ball thing definitely still stands out. Not seeing enough improvement with that to this point. It may click. It may take time. He's still a guy that is very inexperienced, but, it's almost like the chicken or the egg type argument here, because it's like they only have him throw 11 times. Like, do they
can't
not
get in a rhythm? Yeah,
they not trust him? How's he supposed to get in a rhythm?
Who's he throwing to?
I keep going back to Carm. How you mentioned this off the top of the show. You also mentioned it off the top of the season. How this season's all about Justin Fields. Well, 2 games into it, I feel like we have no answers. Like we keep checking off games here, and you're waiting for answers, and that's the part that just. I'm far from giving up on the guy. Don't get me wrong. It's not that type of conversation at all. It just starts to get a little bit concerning.
Yeah, I mean, on some level, I think we do have an answer, and that we don't have the answer, and we need to find the answer, and let's prioritize getting the answer, because you need to know the damn answer. And there was one moment tonight, just watching him and his body language late in the fourth quarter. He throws the pick. They show him sitting there. He's, clearly disappointed, and. No one's talking to him at that point. Maybe that's fine. He can sit with himself and figure it out. But and he's a confident guy, and he's a hard worker, and he's well liked, and he's a captain and all that type of stuff. But he's got it. It's going to wear on him a little bit until he gets himself really going here. So there's that too.
Yeah, I think it's mostly on Getsy. I think he's got to call plays out there, right? You have to pass the ball, especially when you're down in there. So I know it was tough with the time of possession and us not being able to stop the run, because, they had the ball for 37 minutes. We only had it for 22, right? They had 66 plays. We had 41. So I get it. But, I think I'm most disappointed about the defense. That for me, because I feel like we did enough offensively to stay in the game and keep it closer than it was. But if you cannot stop the run, you cannot win games in this league.
Well, and this is the first time that we got to sit and watch a game with you, and you did a great job, Corey, of just basically simplifying what should happen.
Yeah.
And they were not listening to Woot. There was no containment. There was setting the edge, all that stuff. It was, and when they did do it, it what you were saying did not seem like it was overly difficult. But the Bears just we're not there tonight.
It's very surprising, because I thought they would be the more disciplined team this season, right?
Do you think it was more of a game plan thing and Allen Williams not making that adjustment, or the players just consistently getting out of position?
I think the players were getting out of position, because you looked at Al-Qadim Muhammad at times, Travis Gibson, Robert Quinn, they were getting out leveraged, they were getting reached all day. And like I said, if you can get penetration, you can get reached and be fine, right? But if you don't get penetration and you get reached, good luck trying to stop this team. And then you got Aaron Jones one-on-one against Kyler Gordon in the open field. He's going to win that matchup majority of the time. So,
well, the point that really resonated with me in what you said was, at one point you were like, they're all kind of doing their own thing. Yeah. They're not rushing as one.
Exactly.
And, I just think that really stuck home with me, because you kept preaching about how they have to stay on the edge. They can't cheat inside, because then Rodgers gets that opening to come outside and make more, make a big time or open throws. So
and the reality is those guys don't know each other.
Exactly.
So the trust isn't there yet.
I think the biggest thing is they could have had 7 or 8 sacks in this game, to be honest with you. And I told you, how you rush him, right? You set the edge, you keep him in the pocket, right? And what did we see? Travis Gibson, the 2 times they had contained, they had pressure up the middle, he had 2 sacks. The same time when he set the left edge, Robert Quinn comes home. Right, they could have had a bunch more sacks on some of those 3rd and long situations. What does Rodgers do? He steps up in there, because a guy makes an inside move, and we have no contain in that B and A gap, right? Aaron Rodgers steps up, completes a bomb. So we saw countless examples of that. Aaron Rodgers, you can't rush normal. If you set the edge, you will come home and have 8 to 9 sacks in a game, because he will run to you.
we know Alan Williams was concerned about that because he said this week in his press conference that Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest B-gap escape guys in football. And we saw that tonight, unfortunately, with him finding that gap to get out of there and make a play. All right, need to tell you right now that this football season, PointsBet is bringing you a better way to bet live on games, which means before this ad is over, you can place a live same-game parlay, bet on the next drive to be a touchdown, and cash out on your live second-half overbet. With PointsBet, you have access to more live football markets than ever before. Build the perfect live same-game parlay by combining your favorite bets anytime during the game, including spreads, totals, player props, and more. Choose the outcome of the next drive and next points with PointsBet Lightning Bets. So whether you are on the move or on the couch, do it live on PointsBet. Download the PointsBet app today. Sign up with code CHGO to get your first 2 bets risk-free up to $2,000. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
And let's get you some tickets, and the best way to do that is through Game Time Tickets. It's the hottest new ticketing site. Makes it easier than ever to score the best deals. Tickets, you want to go see the White Sox and the Guardians when the Sox come back and win the division and stun everybody. Let's go, Herb Lawrence. I see you. Or any? How about next Sunday, little Bears Texans? I bet the market might be cratering just for a split second here. And you can come to our tailgate, which we'll get to in a second.
Pretty sure the Bear.
Listen, if you love CHGO, you are going to love Game Time, and the best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description. I love the Game Time app. I love looking for tickets, paying a price that I feel like I'm getting a tremendous value. And, so I've got it right here. And I'm looking at literally every White Sox game this week. The lowest ticket is $1, which is $6 with free. Let's go. So, right there in the link. Use it. Live it. We'll see you out there, hopefully, at a White Sox, Bears, Cubs, Bulls, Blackhawks right around the corner. Anything you want to go to. And, look at that. $112 for your cheapest seat for the Texans. Love it. The Game Time app is the place to go. Cheap, amazing, mind-blowing. Let's live the dream. Game Time.
You might want to use that next week if you're trying to go to the game against Houston. But regardless if you're going to the game or not, you should be coming to our tailgate.
We just want to hang out with you. We want to talk. We might even. I'm giving out hugs or taking hugs. I might be looking for hugs next Sunday. Why not? Let's
Carm,
go.
we want people to come to the tailgate.
Don't wear the jersey next week.
You don't think that people want to hug me?
Don't wear the jersey next week. It's bad luck.
No, that's a $15.
The blame game
might
is
be a
definitely
one-time
the
wear.
Kmart special.
That's a good point. The blame game should be your jersey.
Do I have to
Blame
donate?
everything.
This could be a donate situation.
Hashtag blame Carm.
I nearly bought a Trubisky yesterday.
Oh gosh. All right.
You know they sell jerseys of players who are on the team now.
Yes, but I like to play the economic game. And I was walking out of Ryan Field after the congratulations to Southern Illinois beating I've been around long enough I can call them my Wildcats.
That was terrible.
And then I'm going through the closeout rack and there's a couple of Trubiskys. I'm like, should I get that one too?
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't get a 10. 52 I was able to do.
Gosh.
Oh man.
Well, at least that guy's going to the Hall of Fame. So,
Yeah.
even if he's on a different team now. Okay. Hashtag blame Carm. Like it.
Yep.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Blame him for everything.
I like it.
Blame you for the Northwestern loss too.
Exactly.
Ugh,
You were
that-
there, man.
that was-
Bad luck.
Terrible.
If you're bringing that up, shout out to Mark Silverman, who apparently gave the Southern Illinois Salukis a pep talk. Sylvie's tweeting about how
Must have worked.
they called in Sylvie for a pep talk, and the dude went in there and pep talked them, and they went out and beat Northwestern. And all due respect to Sylvie, who's tremendous Chicago media personality success, brags you and him are close, but I did not have on the bingo card that the Cats were going to get out pep talked by Sylvie.
They got out Sylvie.
I think his kids
that
were
is
in
a
there
rough
with him,
That is a
too.
rough loss, Woot.
Why didn't they have you in there for the halftime speech?
I mean,
That's next.
Woot, you got to get back in there.
Man, they don't want me to come in
yeah,
there.
but
man.
all right, back to Bears.
So light them up. All right. I think we're going to bring in Will DeWitt now. Or should we jump in?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard to wait for Will. I can't wait to hear
okay.
Will's thoughts. Let's go. But sure, we can wait.
Yeah, let's do some super chats then.
Okay.
We got the Duke, $20, spending $19.99 more than Carm spent on that jersey just to say terrible play calling by Nagy tonight. Checks notes. In seriousness, the hits principle was not on display, and I think it's time to have major concerns with Fields.
Pump the brakes.
Let's not go major. But what irks me a little bit is the lack of reality that some of the fandom want to live on the quarterback, like just want to stamp that he's there. He's not there yet. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I'm not saying he's not going to get there. I'm not even remotely saying that the talent isn't there, because I think the talent is there. I think the talent, the intelligence, the athletic ability is all there. But whatever it is, let's just call it. We need to see it a little bit.
I'll tell you what it is, man.
Yeah.
It's the play calling.
Okay.
Right? And I said this. I said there's certain guys in the league that can play for any play caller, right? I.e. Aaron Rodgers, right?
Okay.
But there's guys, you look at Josh Allen early on in his career, right? He struggled a little bit. Brian Dable comes in, right? Really grooms him into this quarterback. Now he's arguably one of the best. I always say this example. When Alex Smith came to Kansas City, right? They threw him to the side. He's a game manager. He can't be this and that. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler, All-Pro, leading the league in yards, completion percentage. So a lot of times, especially a young guy like Justin Fields, Luke Getsy's got to have his best play calling every game for him, right? Because we're trying to mold his confidence right now. He's not developed yet. He's not where he needs to be, right? You look at how Andy Reid scripted when Patrick Mahomes was first starting, right? He scripted for success for him. He put him in positions to succeed. And Luke Getsy is not really doing that as a whole. So let's pump the brakes on all the Justin Fields thing, because I think he has all the talent right there. And now it's about Luke Getsy. How is he as a game caller, right? They had all these expectations. He came from Aaron Rodgers and this, that, and the other. Let's see how he's going to go forward, right? How is he going to mold Justin Fields? Because you don't want to get two quarterbacks wrong over here. And I think Trubisky, a lot of it was the play calling, right? So I don't want to see the same thing happen with Justin Fields, because I think he has such a different element with his feet. I think he can make every throw. It's just about molding him up here. And I think that's on Getsy.
Well, this is the lesson we should have already learned with Mitch. I said it a million times when he was on this freaking team, and I got plastered as this Mitch cheerleader. But the statement was, it's not all on Mitch. You say it's the play calling. I completely agree. But it's never just one thing. Mm-hmm. They also have a talent deficiency at wide receiver. Cole Kmet's dropping a pass. Their center, Sam Mustipher, fumbles a snap. I don't know if you want to blame it on Justin or Sam, but the connection isn't there. We got to get the center, Lucas Patrick, back at center. Tevin Jenkins, I thought, did okay tonight. I'm no offensive line guru, but at the same time, the offensive line still has to find their cohesion. The wide receiver group it's going to be upgraded next offseason. Well, we're not there yet. So this is what they have to deal with. Cole Kmet, catch a frickin' ball. This is year 3 now. You had a great preseason. You looked good at camp. We were all very excited for you. It's time to put up or shut up, because if you don't do it this year, we're all running you out of town. We'll make sure of it as Bears fans. So, that's it. So Justin Fields, we want to see him continue to get better, but it's not a one-size-fits-all problem. There's a lot of different things elements that go into how good Justin Fields is going to be. And, you just got to find those answers 1 week at a time. Play the Texans next week. They're not the Packers. Get some first downs, get the offense opened up, and start making some plays as best you can with what you have for this year.
Javier Castro, I see you. It's game 2 under a new coaching staff. That's right. Yeah. It's early. You're right.
Also, the Packers are a lot better,
and the Packers are are a very good football team on both sides of the ball.
I promised myself all off season. I was like, keep your expectations low and just enjoy whatever comes. And, of course, they win week 1, and I start seeing that tunnel vision of how they can get to 4-0 with some winnable games after the Green Bay game. I fell for it, all right? I'm a meatball. I'll wear the meatball costume next Sunday. I don't care.
Green Bay will probably win the NFC North, to be honest with you. They struggle playing the Vikings at Minnesota, right, in that stadium. Aaron Rodgers, they've always split the games. When they play in Minnesota wins, and they come back to Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers always wins. So that's a tough place to play with the crowd rocking. They had Danielle Hunter, Darius Smith, breathing down Rodgers' neck. So I took that last game with a grain of salt. So Green Bay is a really good team.
All right. Should we go to Will? All right, let's bring Will in. Will DeWitt joining us now to get his thoughts on the game. Of course, was watching it the entire time, and there he is. What's up, Will?
Fortunately, Adam, I was watching it the entire time. That was painful, honestly.
Will, what do you think of the QB conversation we're having? Where are you at with QB1?
Yeah, absolutely. I have some thoughts. I know you guys wanted him to pass more, but I don't know where that would have been. So, like those 4 straight 3-and-outs, right? Like, we need to be able to pass this ball. 8 of those 12 plays were supposed to be pass attempts. You had the legal forward pass. He got sacked a couple of times. He felt some pressure and ended up trying to scramble instead. So he had those opportunities and didn't capitalize on them, whether it be him or the team. So we lost some there. That's why, like, my personal feeling is like sticking with the run. That would have helped if they would have actually stuck to running the ball. Those possessions hopefully would have been extended. And then those passing opportunities, better passing opportunities, would have actually presented itself a lot like that first drive, because Fields was 1 for 1, 30 yards on an opening drive. He only had to pass the ball one time. It was a big chunk play. And I guess one more, positive, and we don't need to talk about it a lot, would just be an actual creative play call coming out of a timeout. We haven't seen that in Chicago for a while. So I know things soured out afterwards, but I thought that was still a really good play call coming out of a timeout. But obviously, Justin didn't do enough here to win the game. He thought, looking at the presser, that he did enough. He thought he was in the goal line. Of course, a 7-point game with 8 minutes is a whole lot different than being down 2 scores, giving the ball back to Aaron Rodgers. What else you guys want to know? I have a lot of notes, a lot of thoughts. I just need some guidance on where you guys want to take it.
Well, let's go defense. I mean, how'd you feel? Because that's about as frustrating as it gets when you can't stop the run.
Yeah, that's really it, Adam. It was like the parting of the seas there for this Bears defense, whether they bounced it outside, kept it inside. It was real frustrating watching Roquan just get driven back 5, 6, 7 yards from the offensive tackles from the Packers here. And the defensive line, you guys talked about the contain, excellent point. I don't need to reharp on that, but the fact that the Bears offense weren't able to sustain drives, and then you have the Green Bay just killing you on the ground, it's a recipe for disaster. There's no other way to put it. The Green Bay is going to hold the clock, march downfield. You mentioned the demoralization that comes from it as well. It's just bad all the way around. Kyler Gordon, I know, had a pretty difficult day. He had a couple of bright spots, whether it be the PBU in the end zone. He did help in run support early, but the more they picked on him, the more he struggled. And I know we expect some of those growing pains. It's still hard to watch. And unfortunately, the Packers knew that he was a weak spot, kept going at it, and it definitely hurt that defense too.
Will, what were your thoughts on Eddie Jackson? Because last week I thought he performed pretty decent. This week in the big stage, just didn't see enough from him. Tackling-wise, he kind of looked like, coming up, making some tackles here, a lot of missed tackles, and then had his eyes on the backfield, especially to that big completion to Sammy Watkins. What did you see from Eddie Jackson tonight?
Yeah, not as decisive and as aggressive as we saw last week. And actually, Corey, I'm going to bounce this right back to you, because what I see out of Eddie Jackson and those tackling attempts is a lot of shoulders and just lowering the shoulder. And as a defender, like, what goes through your mind when you see that? Because as a fan and as an analyst, like, that really frustrates me, because he's in position to make a play, but just the effort to finish with only a shoulder not wrapping up. And that's been an issue throughout his career here. It's frustrating to watch. What about you?
Yeah, that's really frustrating. Tackling 1-on-1, you got to wrap up, right? There's situations where you can lay the shoulder if a guy's going across the middle to catch a ball. Hey, I'm all for, you're trying to knock his block off. But the thing is, when you're coming downhill to tackle, you have to wrap up. That's why the Bears all game, they were missing tackles left and right, because they're trying to get with their shoulder and poor tackling technique. But you see this not only from the Bears, but throughout the league. You see the highlights. A lot of missed tackles nowadays. People really don't work on tackling like they do back in the day. They used to do full-on 11-on-11 tackling. Yeah. They don't do that anymore.
Two-a-days.
Yeah, so now you see tackling is very poor throughout the year. Usually towards the end of the season, once you get to the playoffs, that's when tackling improves, because they have 16, 17 games of experience out there. But, yeah, it was just unfortunate to see so many missed tackles. And you look at the Packers, too. They missed a lot of tackles with David Montgomery. It's throughout the league.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, is it because they're trying to keep people safe in practice, or does the NFL like to see a lot of points scored? You just kind of opened up a thought that I had there, Corey.
I think a lot of times they try to keep people safe in practice, right? Because most injuries happen in the preseason. During the season, your likelihood of injury goes down. So I think they just try to get them healthy to the season. But it's unfortunate because the tackling technique is pretty poor, especially in the first couple weeks of the season.
Will,
I did
last
see
week.
real quick, Greg, real quick. I just want to mention Jalen Johnson. I saw from Next Gen Stats, 2 games in a row this season, 0 targets going towards number 33, continuing to be a true lockdown corner for the Bears. So again, if you're looking for silver linings here today, which even though I'm mentioning them, they don't feel good, to be honest. But that is still pretty impressive. I think every other cornerback that's played at least 50 snaps has seen no, let me find it. I don't want to give a wrong stat, but it was really incredible. Like the group he was in, every other corner has seen at least 7 targets, and he still has a goose egg at 0. That's crazy incredible.
Definitely good, but why go after Jalen when you have Kyler Gordon to go after too? I think might have played an element in that, but at the same time, credit to Jalen. Will, last week, we talked about the word of the game was adjustments. And tomorrow night when we do our Bears After Dark show, which I'm looking forward to, I think the word of the day is shotgun. And I want to know, and I want to see if you have any notes about this now, but the first thing I'm going to go back and watch is I'm going to count how many times they ran out of shotgun versus how many times they ran out of the I formation with a fullback, somewhere in the play. You saw it on the last drive where the fullback's in motion and they finally get some momentum. They're running it the way the fullback's motioning. They couldn't stop it anyway. And it just made me want to pull my hair out every time they started to run in shotgun. And I know a lot of Bears fans echoed that sentiment. You got any notes on that or any thoughts on that?
No official notes, but let's definitely bookmark that, discuss that tomorrow night. However, you hit a great point. I think just the eye test speaks for itself here tonight. Like when they were running out of shotgun, not nearly as effective. And obviously in those situations too, they were trying to put the ball in Justin Fields' hands a little bit more. And that may not have been wise just with how good the Bears running backs were playing when they were more under center. David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert both averaged combined over 8 yards a carry. I don't know what more you need to ask out of those guys, and really the offensive line on those plays as well. They were really making some good blocks out there, opening up some lanes, and the backs were making people miss. That was really good stuff, and unfortunately the Bears got away from that a little too soon and took them way too long to get back to it. If you're looking for other reasons why the Bears lost tonight, at least from my opinion, obviously the penalties hurt for a team that's been focusing on discipline. 7 penalties, 50 yards, compared to only 25 penalty yards on 3 for Green Bay hurt. Not scoring a touchdown after that fumble recovery hurt, and not getting to pick up that other ball that was on the ground. That could have been another big momentum swing for the Bears too. So just not being able to capitalize on those situations and opportunities that were presented, and can even bring in Justin's touchdown, not touchdown, whatever you want to call it. Well, it's not a touchdown, right? Because it doesn't count. But yeah, just failing to capitalize on the chances to make this a complete ball game. I think it's something that the Bears are going to look back on tape and realize damn, we had them. We had a chance to actually come out with a win here tonight, but we didn't take care of it ourselves, because they did, as much as Green Bay beat them, and we talked about what happened on the ground game, the Bears beat themselves in a lot of ways too.
It's interesting that touchdown counts and the Bears cover. I'm just saying, conspiracy theories out there. All goes to New York for the review. Seems pretty clearly it's a touchdown. They got the little gray area because technically you can't see the actual ball. Al Riveron once circled a shadow and said it was a football. So
his hands were there.
I mean,
where else do you think the football is?
Exactly. Unless he had fumbled. By the way, here's some interesting info from Steve Palazzolo from Pro Football Focus. This caught me off guard. Was not expecting this, guys. Touchdown percentage on run plays from the 1 yard line since 2017. Shotgun, 63%. No shotgun, 55%. So shotgun has actually resulted.
These nerds.
And with quarterback, hang on. Touchdown percentage for quarterbacks on run plays from the 1 yard line since 2017. Shotgun, it goes up to 74.5%. No shotgun, it's at 60.
I'm literally going to...
Somebody made an error. That doesn't seem right.
I'm going to break
It doesn't seem right.
Doesn't seem right. I have to agree, but
no, I mean the 8 hour.
Use your fullback. Give me the touchdown percentage when a fullback's
Old school
on the field.
football.
No, 8 hour vibes is saying it in the chat. What people are forgetting is he did get in. It was a touchdown. And as I said to some guy on Twitter too, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. Yeah, he got in. So if they had called it a touchdown, nobody would be complaining. But you have to be able to look past the result and understand the process. And I'm sorry, I don't care what the stupid nerds say with their stupid percentages. I am going to be defiant that they should have been under center, and you can still sneak it in, but it's the path of least resistance. Where would you rather be, 5 yards back or 1 yard away? As Corey said, get the fullback behind you and shove him, not Cole Kmet pitter-pattering the guy on him. Forget it. Just sneak it in the easy way.
Hey, Will, you've got one tweet here. I'm going to read it. Bears Luke Getsy has some serious explaining to do, not just for the play calling, but it's still mind-blowing that Darnell, Mooney, and Cole Kmet are easily being taken out by opposing defenses. It's completely unacceptable. Let's role play. Getsy's here right now. What would you ask him? What would you say?
What the hell? No, honestly though, like where are these players? Like, I want to know, is the defense taking them away? Are you just going other directions? Because if he is the offensive coordinator that the Bears need him to be, I don't see how the hell that these guys combined for 2 catches and 4 yards. Mooney had negative 4 yards today. He had 8 yards last week. And Cole Kmet, I know he dropped his one opportunity, but they are supposed to be, and I think I had a tweet earlier calling them the names on this offense. And if the names aren't producing and a team that's already starving for talent, we have some serious issues. And I don't know, again, we have to go back and look at the tape because you only get a little bit from the actual broadcast, but I don't know why it's so difficult to give these guys, the football in their hands and make them make plays. It happened last year in Nagy's scheme. Luke Getsy, he has 2 good playmakers. He should be finding ways to use them. And I know people are already getting soured on Cole Kmet now, which I know is unfortunate. Probably hurts Adam's feelings a little bit.
Does it?
He's been awful. No. I mean, I don't know what this actually.
There you go.
Let me clarify, because I was even on the pregame show I talked about last week. Like, I was willing to give him credit because he blocked well, I thought, and today was just bad. Today was bad. Catch the ball, block. Yeah. I don't know why you're trying to pull a guy off your quarterback when he's trying to get across the goal line. Did I see that wrong, or is that's what I thought?
Yeah,
that's what I thought happened.
Try to pull him, like put your
all your body
weight, and drive him into the end zone. Yeah. I didn't understand that one.
He talks such an amazing game. Cole Kmet does. Every time he's up there at the podium, I'm like, you are the most well-spoken tight end in Bears history. Outside of not outside of no one, and like you sound like you're gonna do something.
You sound like you're gonna.
And in the preseason, like, oh, they're scheming and he's open, he's making catches. I'm like, all right, we've got this. Yeah. It's gonna happen. It ain't happening.
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing was when you have 11 pass attempts in a game, and it wasn't a monsoon like last week. Like, come on, the percentages aren't there, right? You gotta pass the ball 20, 25 times at least in a game. I know, we couldn't stop the run, so we didn't get the ball that much. They control time possession. But you got to pass the ball more than 11 times in a game if you're developing a quarterback and you're trying to get your weapons the ball.
I think it's clear to say that we don't know what Velus Jones can be to this offense. But just as far as his playmaking, separation ability, his electric speed, he has that. That's going to make any defense, even if he hasn't proven anything on the field stats-wise, that's going to make any defensive player keep an eye on him, game plan for him. And that's going to help guys like Cole Kmet and Darnell Mooney get open. I mean, they have to do it on their own too, but at the same time, I think Velus Jones would be a good shot in the arm whenever he can get healthy.
They need some kind of shot in the arm. They need somebody that just...
Well, Byron Pringle and St. Brown are who they are.
Byron Pringle played tonight, by the way. Because I saw him false start twice on one play.
Yeah,
that was amazing. He false started, and the ref gave him a break and didn't call it, and then he flinched again, and then he called it. That's hard to do.
Come on, Byron Pringles. Give me the feel or flavor of a Pringle.
Pringles
on the end of it. Chicago's though.
Catch a ball, do something.
It's Byron Pringles.
This Byron Pringles got to do something.
Hey, Will, just one back on track for just a minute. Can you give us a glass half full moment, like something that some level of optimism going into week 3? You got anything?
It's that whole entire drive that ended ended in the end zone, but they didn't score points. I mean, the fact that they were down 2 scores, they got the stop on defense, right? 7 plays, 16 yards for the Packers. Like, they were fighting that defense was to get that stop, got it, offense came, ran it down the Packers' throats, which I like to see that happen. That's always fun to watch. And then unfortunately, the end result just wasn't what it needed to be. That's the silver lining. The Bears had a chance to make this a 7-point game with 8 minutes left, and it changes the entire complexity of this ball game. Momentum shifts. The Packers were they fumbled and then they punted. So then who knows what's happening at that next series? That's where I'm at.
It does, and Fields said that too, and Nick's tweeting it. But let's be honest, it would have been a one-score game, but Green Bay was decidedly the better team tonight. I mean, would anybody argue with that?
No.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
yeah, everybody.
They definitely were, but
And they probably would have gone down there and kicked at least a field goal.
we would have had a chance, right?
Yeah.
Because
But we don't know
in
that.
the second half, we stopped them for the most part, right?
Yeah.
We got off they were driving a little bit, and we got a turnover.
They only
but-
scored 3 points in the second half.
Yeah.
The Packers.
So you score there,
So the Bears.
7-point game, and then you got a chance. You get a stop, and then you can run the ball, and then
Yeah,
who knows what may
and
happen.
Will, I'm with you too. By the way, like one-score game late, midway through the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, that's progress. However, like when the Bears are saying it, when I'm hearing like Fields say like that changes, that's really not what I want to hear from him. Yeah. Like I really just want to hear how they've got to get the offense going.
Not good enough. Got to do better.
Yeah.
Somebody had a pretty good comment here about if the Bears might upgrade a receiver midway through the season. Remember we talked about Odell Beckham, but I think the Bears have to be in the hunt for something.
Yeah, Odell's not
go
signing.
What's
with
N'Keal Harry
Yeah.
still to come back to this team, right? I mean, I'm not saying he's going to help. I'm just saying that is the other guy.
But like,
right?
That is a human being who will be coming off IR at some point, yes.
Yes.
But I'm saying like a playmaker, right? Like an Odell if he's healthy.
Valence.
If the-
Corey Wootton's out here being like,
Odell's a Hail
maybe
Mary.
they'll trade for somebody who can actually play.
Yeah, Odell's a real Hail Mary. N'Keal Harry.
Don't forget about
Byron
N'Keal
Pringle.
is all I'm saying.
I know they're getting N'Keal, come back, save this
Yeah.
offense, N'Keal.
I got you
I
back,
just hope the
N'Keal.
Bears make a
Jeez.
run and they're winning some games, and then maybe we can get an Odell Beckham type. We need a
They need
playmaker.
somebody.
We need
Where
somebody.
the hell is N'Keal?
Will, any final thoughts, my man?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate the fact that if people are, obviously wanting the Bears to pass the ball more, they attempted to pass or tried to attempt to pass in 75% of those plays on the drives that went 3 and out, and they just weren't executing. If they would have executed, there would have been more pass attempts there. There just weren't an opportunity because what happened was just god awful.
That almost makes it worse.
That makes it worse.
I know it makes it worse, but I'm saying like if you
it's
can't
like when
say
You
can't say pass the ball more when you're going off the field, because when you're passing the ball, you're not moving this. Moving
I got
the
one for you,
chains.
Will. So do you think Getsy is less confident with Justin Fields or the offensive line? Because my take is I think it's the O-line. I don't feel like he really trusts him. You look at tonight, we talked about Larry Borum really struggled.
He did.
I think he doesn't trust the O-line. That's why he's maybe not passing as much.
That would
trust
make
Hill.
me feel better if that's the case. Like if he's already not trusting Justin, and then that's a whole, I think, bigger issue. Because if he's getting like the same treatment that Mitch got like under John Fox, I think that's going to be a huge deal. But if it's the offensive line, like I can respect that and understand that, because we've seen their pass protection and it has been very suspect at best. And you have Sam Musfer snapping the ball when he's not supposed to. Like, come on! And then, like you said, Larry Borum was struggling. I think Braxton Jones was like on the one big drive when they were moving downfield, made like the best tackle attempt on David Montgomery because he ran into the back of him and was actually the only one that can stop him because Green Bay couldn't. But out of it, Greg hit it right before I went on. I thought Tevin Jenkins played well today. I think he had a really good game. So if you're looking for yet another positive way for me to end my time here on the show, that Tevin Jenkins continues to grow here. And I think once Lucas Patrick gets that cast off, goes to center, and Jenkins is that full-time right guard and can get even more playing time into a deeper flow and just get more confident in himself and those abilities, it's looking good for Tevin Jenkins.
All right, Will, good stuff. Our Will
Appreciate
call.
it, guys.
The Will call.
Call.
You the man,
Here we
Will.
go.
Good
I
stuff.
like it.
Appreciate
Enjoy the rest of the show, guys. Adios.
Follow him on Twitter at Will DeWitt. The L's are ones in there. Here's the thing, though. If Tevin Jenkins is playing the best, stop taking him out for half the game.
Yeah, I don't like
Keep
that.
him on the field.
Let him switch with Whitehair, right? Whitehair is the experience, right? Let Jenkins get the
Let me
reps.
push that even further. If Larry Borum got beat like a drum all game, like it looks like he did, why not have him at right tackle? I mean,
That's
if
where
he's your best,
Jenkins?
yeah, if Tevin
Yeah,
Jenkins
because
is.
he didn't really take off till he moved the guard. That would,
Yeah.
I don't want to throw him back in.
That's what I'm asking.
I was in the same Bragg's mindset, which is
It's a great
like it.
mindset.
Yeah.
to be in.
What about Riley Reef?
I mean, so right. So you
Right? He's a guy that's played a lot of games in this league. I think he could be a pretty good right tackle.
you want to put your best 5 out there.
Yeah.
You know, who are they? And I listen. I was hoping that Larry Bourne was going to grab that job and run with it.
I
but
thought Larry played fine last week, so I'm not going to overreact to one game. He struggled tonight.
He was
My point was just
miserable.
like, if Tevin Jenkins is seizing this opportunity, here is a second-round pick who a lot of people thought could be a first-rounder last year, who seems to have found a home and a position. Stop taking him off the field.
Yeah.
Like, Lucas Patrick is fine. Like, you went out and paid money to get him, but you didn't pay him, like, a ton of money.
And
You
has
paid
$8
him-
million.
He has one hand right now.
He has the
Like,
experience. It's not like he needs to get out there and get experience, you know?
Just get him right. Just
played
get him
NFL
healthy.
games.
Get him healthy. That's all.
Can
Reef
I-
was hurt too. By
Can
the
I
way.
add another question of positional overreaction? But are we okay with Roquan Smith on the outside as a linebacker, or put him back in the middle?
I think we put him in the middle. He looked overmatched today. He definitely looked out of place. I think he's better from that middle position. You just look at it, right? He couldn't set the edge on there when he needed to. He seemed like his eyes were in the backfield too much. He fits way better in that middle spot. I think that would make everything a lot better.
That goes back to the discussion we had in the offseason, and I was a little bit surprised that they were putting him at the will. But a lot of people thought that
he would shine like
he'd shine there. I thought he struggled in the first half last week, then turned it on in the second half, and then today was just
It was tough.
That was a tough
sledding
game.
all day.
He had great mic videos from last week. Him talking on the silence, talking about
All
every
mic'd
time.
up.
It was
How
he
much
was
he
so
loved it.
all mic'd up, whatever. He was so enjoyable. Today, that was the worst game I've seen Roquan play in 3 seasons. I mean, it's been a while. He was
well,
brutal.
I mean, what is it? I mean, when they run away from him, he can chase it down, and that's
Yeah.
something he's great at. But when they run right at him, like we saw tonight, he's getting pushed back 5, 6, 7 yards.
You could tell by the way he was lining up out there. He should have been a little more outside there, and he was kind of creeping more to the inside because I feel like he's just so comfortable playing that inside backer position. As a lineman at times, I'm like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
You know, when he has the edge there and they have a 5 technique next to him, he has to set the edge over there, and he was kind of a little bit too far inside. So I didn't understand that. So I think they need to move him back to the mic. I think that's his best natural position out there.
Well, now might be a good time to do our overreactions because that kind of sounds like an overreaction, although granted there might be some validity to it. But after a couple games, so maybe that counts as one. How about this? Who said it when we were watching a game that Mooney might only get 300 yards this year? Someone said that, didn't they?
Was that
I
blame
didn't say it.
Carman?
I don't get,
Hashtag blame Carman?
I don't get that credit.
No. But like someone was like, I think joking, like, hey, he might only get 300 passing yards this year. I got news for you. Darnell Mooney's on pace for 68 receiving yards this season.
No, I said that. I did because I'm like, wow, like it's very revealing right through these 2 games. I know the season isn't over, but when your best receiver had over 1,000 last year with everything going on with the offense, we thought, oh, this would be a new offensive team. I thought it from what we saw in the preseason, and it's like, wow, this is a lot different than we thought.
Cole Kmet has 0 catches in
Exactly.
2 games.
Mooney's got 2 catches.
Mooney has 2 for 4 yards total because he lost 4 yards
yeah,
today.
-4. Yeah. So I think it's
So all that concern in the offseason about them not having enough weapons, how do you argue after 2 games that it's not true? That's what's concerning to me. And then that goes back to the Fields discussion too. If they don't trust the offensive line right now, they don't have weapons. They can pretty much only run the ball. I don't know that we should be surprised that he only comes out of the game with 11 passing attempts.
yeah.
In a game, by the way, they were trailing.
Exactly. With only having the ball for 22 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So it's a big difference right there. It's hard to get things going and get into rhythm. So, it's hard to really evaluate when they didn't get a full offensive day with time and everything. So tough sledding, man.
All right, let's get to some super chats, shall we? And
We're not all going to
I was
overreact.
going to say my overreaction. Cole Kmet sucks, and I'm sick of it. No, 11 passes, whatever. You have one hit you in the numbers and you drop it. Hey, you get paid big bucks. Catch the ball. You suck. I mean, that's my overreaction. I'm tired of it. No
Yeah.
more excuses. Year
Corey,
three.
this is what you had to deal with when you were a player.
Exactly. I got two overreactions, right? My first being Al-Qadim Muhammad, right? He's a guy that I thought was going to step up big this year, right? And so far through the first two games,
That noise you just made was hilarious.
we really haven't seen much from him, right? I
Yeah.
thought this was a guy. He had 7 sacks a year ago. He as a first year starter under Getsy you got me all off my camera.
But I liked him in training
My
camp
favorite
too.
part of the show.
I thought Muhammad had a good.
I thought he did, but
preseason.
thus far today, he couldn't set the edge. Pass rush has been non-existent. So, and then
Roquan
Kyler
disease.
Gordon, right? Look
Oh,
at him, eyes in the
severe
backfield,
storm
not being
warning.
able to set the edge. So,
I'm just gonna get in the way, just like NBC did.
the storm.
Oh, I was wondering what you were doing. I was about to call you out because you were complaining during the game, Lawrence, that the
Least favorite
the
thing
storm?
in the world.
the radar was blocking. So now you're doing a joke. I get it. You're
Yeah.
blocking us with the radar.
I was going to overreact with that one, too. But
Yeah.
I was going to overreact to that radar, and now we're hearing loud booms.
Can I double up on Woot's overreaction? Hey, Kyler Gordon, you're like the 6th best rookie on this team right now. There's an overreaction for you. I mean, you are behind Brisker, you are behind Jones, you're behind Trenton Gill, you're behind you're behind Dom Rob. You're pulling up the rear as the first pick here, dog. That's what's going on right now.
They picked on him all day today. I mean,
They did.
you know, teams are going to do that, you know.
That's what concerns me is that they saw something and they were like, "This is the guy we're
right,
going to go after."
right.
It wasn't
You're
just
gonna
like,
pick on the shrimp over here.
and they did this last year with Kendall Vildor and Duke Shelley. Okay, but those were guys that weren't supposed to. They weren't the first pick in the draft.
Yeah.
That you had in your draft class.
That was supposed to be Kyler Gordon. A lot of people are saying he's supposed to be a first rounder.
Yeah.
You know? Like he had athleticism. He could make every play. And, it just seems like he seems uncomfortable out there. Right?
He had the
A
nice
little overwhelmed
recovery.
with having to play NFL football.
Yeah,
I think.
you're trying to be the man out there and make all the plays. Just try to just like stem the tide. Do what you're supposed to do. We don't need we don't need a hero here.
Well, he had the nice breakup in the end zone.
But he
where
got beat by 5 yards on the
Okay,
play.
but he came back, he recovered, and,
But-
and broke the pass.
Ro-
so I'm gonna give him that credit.
Rodgers and LaFleur, they were like, we're going to go at this guy. And that
Yeah.
was their plan.
Well, and
the whole time.
that's where the whole keep my expectations low, Greg, and tell me that a million times and still don't listen after 1 week into the season. You know, it's that these guys are going to have those growing pains.
Yeah.
He's talented. He's going to learn. That's the hope. And you know, I'm not going to give up on him after 2 weeks. But these are the things. Even Brisker's going to have his welcome to the big leagues moments, as great as he's looked at times in his young career. So, you know, these are the things we have to accept as Bears fans. Are they going to battle every game? Yeah. I mean, we got kicked in the teeth pretty much all night, and we almost got it down to a 7-point game. Those are the moral victories we are going to have to take as Bears fans.
we almost got it down to a set. We
Right.
almost covered.
Right. We
Almost.
almost covered. So, you know, these are the moral victories we have to take until this team's ready to
Shoulda,
take
woulda,
the next
coulda.
step. And until they get a little more talent on this team, it may not be possible, but, you know.
Does the chat want us to have like a 2-minute party for like, dude? They almost made it a 1-possession game in the fourth quarter. Yeah. I mean,
Get
like,
that
seriously.
Malord out.
How about the one bright spot defensively, right? Travis Gibson. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, he keeps
as a
it playing.
pass rusher, man, he was making some great moves out there. He set the edge on there. He had that one dip and rip move where the guy tried to tackle him from behind. He still got the sack. But I really like what I see from him because last year he really had a breakout season coming off the bench when Khalil Mack got hurt. He had 7 sacks a year ago. So I was saying he's a guy that I think could be a double-digit guy. I thought Muhammad as well for what he did in the preseason, what he did last year. I mean, it's still a long season, right? But thus far, he hasn't done enough, Muhammad. But Gibson looked really good tonight.
And glass half full again. 1-1 after 2 games. Win all day.
Yeah,
What's a win?
Yeah, it was house money.
It is. It's literally a win.
yeah.
It was house money. Now they have winnable games. Now if they play if he only has 7 completions against the Texans, now we're in a different state of depression where there is no silver linings. I mean, all respect to the Texans. I know they battled today.
They're a tough team.
The Giants are
they're
2-0.
kinda like the
Scrappy,
Bears.
man. They're scrappy.
They're scrappy like the Bears.
Not going to put up a lot of points
Okay.
and numbers offensively, but,
But we better not get man.
But here's
like
where
we did tonight.
Here's where you panic next week. Is if Davis Mills outplays Justin Fields. Like if Davis Mills looks like the quarterback, they're from the same draft class. he's the forgotten guy, and he's out there every week, playing pretty solid.
Yeah.
I mean, Texas lost a 16. Russell was 14 of 31. I haven't watched the game yet. I'll watch it tomorrow. 14 of 31 for 219. Touchdown and interception. He had a QBR of 45.7, a rating of 66.4. He didn't exactly light him up. Might not be.
I was listening to the Broncos radio coming down here, and they were losing their minds. And I'm scared it might be the Bears radio next week. All right, want to tell you about Pins and Aces, the official golf apparel partner of CHGO. We love our Pins and Aces gear. Get tons of compliments on and off the course. They are family-owned golf and apparel business. They make amazing polos, hats, golf bags, and my favorite, the beer sleeve, an innovative product that allows you to store 7 beers right there inside your golf bag. It's insulated, keeps the drinks cold during the entire round, slides right into your bag. Check out pinsandaces.com. Use code CHGO to receive 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com.
And let's go over to another one of my favorites, which is FOCO. You've already got the best coverage right here, damn it, for your favorite Bears team, even on a night where they lose. So let's go out. Let's get yourself fitted out. Best sports gear around. FOCO, F-O-C-O. They've got you covered from Soldier Field, where the Bears should stay, to the front room, north, south, hoodies, slippers, signs, bobbleheads, everything in between. You want to get yourself decked out. Listen, decked out like Justin Fields after a win next Sunday. That's how smooth he's going to look walking out as Soldier after our tailgate in the morning. So, hey, the perfect gift for any football fan or any sports fan. FOCO's got you covered with hoodies to fight that Lake Michigan breeze. Let's not think about winter, but it is coming. Check out FOCO.com or click the link in the description below. For all non-presale items, use that promo code CHGO. You get yourself 10% off thanks to our friends at FOCO.
All right, Nicholas Moreano is standing by at Lambeau Field. He saw the whole thing in person tonight.
Oh, man.
Hey, I've seen way worse losses.
Way
at this
worse.
thing. Way worse
Progress.
losses where it's just an absolute joke. This was, yeah. We're all positive here, Nick. We're celebrating moral victories and almost covering.
Is that what we're doing now? I guess when, the Bears can never beat the Packers at Lambeau Field, you have to, celebrate the moral victories. But yeah, guys, I mean, it was a way different atmosphere in the locker room, I'll tell you that. They weren't really celebrating much. They were really quiet, not much talking going on, players going straight to the showers. And we started to see that kind of recently, but not a lot of talking going on. Got the chance to talk to Braxton Jones for a little bit, being this is his first road game in the regular season. I asked him, what's the overall feeling right now? And basically, and he's kind of echoing what Matt Eberflus talked about in his press conference, just learning how to deal with adversity. He said basically he's soaking it in, he's going to let it sting, knows this wasn't their best game, but you have to move on. It's like that 24-hour period that Matt Eberflus has where you kind of reflect on it, and then you got to move on next week. Like you guys were just talking about the Texans, that's kind of like the mood that Braxton Jones is feeling, but also this team collectively. And I asked Braxton Jones, did he feel like the preparation was good enough, or was it just lack of execution on the players' part? And basically he said we just can't let one bad play turn into another. And we all saw those 3 consecutive 3-and-outs where the Bears weren't doing much offensively. Packers are, gaining ground, scoring points, but shooting themselves in the foot. Matt Eberflus mentioned that. Justin Fields mentioned that. Braxton Jones mentioned that. And obviously they had far more penalties in this game than they did in that week 1 win over the 49ers. So you have to be able to erase that play, the previous bad play in your mind. He was saying, move on to the next one. And I asked him, how do you do that? What do you personally do? He's like, I just get coaching on the sideline, realizing what he did wrong, and just always, playing hard. That's what Matt Eberflus ultimately wants. And kind of the last point I wanted to end on like a high note, like, hey, it wasn't all bad. David Montgomery still had a pretty good night. He's like, yeah, he said we showed everybody tonight that we can run the rock. And so we just can't panic after this, this week 2 loss. But, it definitely was a way different atmosphere in this locker room this time around.
Were you at Fields, Nick?
I was, and he was pretty short answered. Didn't have too much to say, but again, kind of echoing what Braxton Jones was saying with, shooting themselves in the foot. That was the big thing. He was asked about the fourth down and goal play in terms of, what the overall play call. And he basically said it's us versus them, O-line versus D-line. And he said, I'll never know if I got in or not. And clearly after the game, we know that wasn't the case. But he was asked, did you feel like you got in? He's like, yeah. And obviously that wasn't the case there. So he was asked about that and the game plan. He only had just over 10 passing attempts in this one. And we know last week he didn't throw the ball much because of the weather. But Luke Getsy told him the game plan for this, we were going to run the ball down the Packers' throats. And, to a certain extent in the second half, they definitely did that. But he was also asked, Justin, do you want to throw the ball more? And he's like, yeah, I'm a competitor. I want to be able to throw the ball more. But if that's not in the game plan, we're going to do what works best collectively for the team. And we've seen so far this season, there haven't been the passing attempts for Justin Fields. Obviously, the first game, weather-wise, it's understandable, but this one was a little different too. But they did rely on that ground game. It did get them back in the game. They got some momentum, but clearly it wasn't enough to ultimately come away with the victory tonight.
Just real quick, anything on the pick or anything about being or over the line of scrimmage? Was that brought up?
Yeah, the line of scrimmage one, he's like, yeah, obviously I would like to take that back when I threw it. And when he threw it, he's like, yeah, I knew I was past the line of scrimmage. So I was like, he knew exactly when he did it.
Worse.
Yeah.
That's worse.
Hey, Nick, did you talk to any of the defensive guys at all, like Roquan or any of the defensive line or secondary at all? You talk to any of those guys?
No, once I got done with Braxton, it's like Eberflus was talking, so I had to get out of there. But just echoing what Matt Eberflus was talking about, one of the points that he wanted that needs to be improved is the tackling. He said that was a big thing in this game where you can look probably throughout from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, you'll find somebody on each level of the defense missing a tackle. So he did mention that, but also you have to work on just stopping the run. That was a big emphasis that's going to be a big emphasis going into the second week, into the third week. But the three players that he highlighted that had good games, I know you guys were mentioning like Travis Gibson. That was one of the guys Matt Eberflus highlighted. He also highlighted Eddie Jackson. He said he tackled well in this game. He said he maybe had one missed tackle. I see the reaction from Mark, but he said he had maybe one missed tackle.
Not just me. That's an insane comment.
Yeah, I don't know about that. There's a couple missed ones, but
That's what I thought watching from the press box too,
Yeah.
you guys. I thought I saw a couple from Eddie Jackson there.
he's taking care of his players. I can respect that about a coach. But did he talk about anything with the gap discipline? Did he mention that at all? Lack of gap discipline?
No, that wasn't mentioned, Corey. Yeah, he didn't really mention anything about that. You guys were talking about Kyler Gordon, though. He did talk about the rookies in general. He said the NFL has good players, and he said this time though for the rookies is invaluable. But he said tonight wasn't the best night for those guys. So I obviously when he goes back to season tape, maybe we'll see a little bit more of those missed tackles from Eddie Jackson, along with what he kind of said about the rookies.
Was Justin asked about the fumbled snap? Did he take responsibility for that, or was they asked at all?
No, it wasn't. That would have been a good question there, Greg. Yeah, from my vantage point, it looked like he just mishandled it. I don't know if you guys saw anything different.
I was gonna say I think he just dropped it.
Yeah, it was on Fields. He
Yeah.
put it right there, and he just dropped it.
You
Tried
can't
to
have
pull it
that
way
happen.
too quick.
What do you guys think of the fourth down run from shotgun? Is that?
Oh, we've talked about it a lot. We all
I
loved it. We
almost
all thought it was
flipped
the
the table
greatest
and
play
broke it here in the studio, so that's how I felt
Terrible
about
call.
it.
Go
Nick.
under center, sneak it, or give it to Montgomery. With a fullback on there.
And
smash mouth football.
then Adam brought up some percentages from PFF that show that running out of shotgun
That was
is
a lot
better,
clever.
and that only made me want to break things even
Not
more.
PFF.com. That's what you got.
Or wherever.
I'm telling you.
Okay, here's what Matt Eberflus said about it. If you guys care about it. Okay, so he said why he called it from the shotgun. Like it because you outnumber the box. QB as a runner, additional blocker. And he said it's the best play we had at the time, and has to look back at why it didn't work.
Don't say that.
Yeah,
Don't say
I
that's your best
respect
play.
everything
Don't-
else he says, but not the best play at the time.
Yes. Schematically, I get the extra blocker thing. That's why they run the Wildcat stuff. Okay, fine. It doesn't mean I still like it, but football coach, understand what he's saying. Don't say that's the best play you have.
But Will,
Then your playbook sucks.
Will, right or wrong? I mean, Nick, right or wrong? Right on the goal line. If that's Tom Brady in that situation, Tampa Bay's playing in that situation, he's sneaking the football 100%.
Yes. Tom always does that.
Exactly.
Always.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I don't understand why they
Pull
wouldn't do
up
it.
his
I mean,
stats,
Tom Brady
PFF.
is as slow as molasses. He's one of the greatest ever played, but he's getting that touchdown right there.
And if it's all about the numbers, then Run Wildcat with David Montgomery.
Yeah.
I'd rather see that. Then Fields doesn't take the hit, and it's the guy who's been getting you downfield the whole way with his legs.
And just a reminder, don't try to be. And I love you, Floos, and you too, Getsy. I don't want to. This 2 games in, the last thing I want to do is turn on any of them. However, don't try to be the smartest guy in the room. QB sneak, goal line, 4th and inches. It's tried and true.
Trying to get too cute. That's what it is.
Use your fullback. Give your fullback the damn ball for all I
you
care.
have a pulling guard on the yard line. That's a recipe for disaster.
Where's he even pulling? He's got an inch. There's no pulling. You don't need the pull.
They should have got on all fours, a 4-point stance, and just fire it out in front of them. That's classic old school football right there. They would have got in the touchdown. There would have been no replay. We would have got in.
Nick,
7-point game.
Nick, did you get a chance to talk to Cole Kmet tonight?
Greg's out for his
He was
neck.
there. He was there. I didn't see him really much. No, I unfortunately
we saw
didn't.
him.
Because I want an
There was
apology.
Another guy that was missing in action and who's kind of been missing for the last 2 weeks, Darnell Mooney. Matty Rafus was asked about Mooney and do you have to do something to kind of get him more targets? And again, this is kind of his go-to answer is adversity. You look at all aspects of it, okay, that one didn't really answer the question. Then Justin was asked about Mooney and, his lack of production in the passing game. And he was asked first, are they doing anything to take him away out of the game plan? He's like, some plays they are doing things to take him away. And do you sense any frustration out of Darnell Mooney? And Justin said, no, not a selfish guy. He can go out in every game with 0 catches and still be the same guy. I'm like, well, kind of doing that right now. So, I mean, it's kind of happening. But yeah, those are 2 guys, Cole Kmet, Darnell Mooney. You thought going into the season were going to be big contributors, and they still can be, no doubt about it. They still can be, but through 2 games, you guys, not much out of those 2.
I got one more question. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm on fire here. 2nd and 18, or second
28.
and 28, and Eberflus has the defense playing 12 yards back. Did he have anything to say for that? Because that to me was a pivotal moment for them to give that up. Really, really ticked me off.
That was a big play.
Yeah, for that one, he said that in the secondary they didn't get over the top, and he said one of the linebackers on the play was out leveraged there, and they said if it was executed correctly, it's probably like a 6 to 8 yard gain, as opposed to gaining whatever they gained on 2nd and 28. So he did talk about that, and it was a huge play for the Packers, and they do capitalize on despite being behind the sticks. But he did say that if you look at the effort from a few of the individuals, they didn't quite execute their assignments, and that's why that screenplay was able to be executed by the Packers and not executed by the Bears there.
All right, Nick. Good stuff, my man. Safe drive back. The long, lonely, dark drive home from Lambeau. Been there many times.
He's going to the 4 Seasons in Appleton.
Oh.
There we
It's
go.
only about a half hour away.
Yeah.
It's a good move.
There you go.
CHGO.
Plays already.
Whoa.
Are you guys still there?
Yeah, I think so.
Thunderous way to end your
All right, Nick. For real, stay safe.
See you guys. Stay safe.
Wait, really? Is that true?
Okay. 1 second. Did the roadcaster?
It's on. Yeah.
All right, audio's busted.
I don't know what to tell you.
What do we do here? Do we start? I don't know. Still can't hear.
I mean, he said they can hear,
They
but
can
it
hear
sounds
Lawrence.
far away. Maybe
Hey guys. I don't know what's happening with our roadcaster. But we'll try and figure this out here. Take over Lawrence? I don't think so. Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. I mean, I guess I could unplug and replug. I don't know. Is that something I should be doing? Turn it off, turn it back? Well, that's just my terrible microphone. Check, check.
Check,
Check, check,
one, two.
check, check,
You guys
check.
got us?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we?
Can you hear us?
We. Let's,
Testing.
And we
Can
back?
you
Are we
hear
back?
us?
Are we
Oh, we're
back?
back.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're
we're
back.
Man, that,
I was
We
writing
did
we
it.
love you.
Lawrence.
that thunder and lightning hit, man. I popped up like I seen the boogie. I said, whoa!
That was crazy.
that thing. Everything like shut off for a second.
That
After as drenched as I got last week at Soldier Field, I'm not stepping foot out of this building until this storm passes.
Greg's asleep in here.
listen. When they win the Super Bowl next year, I just ruined my foot with that slam. That's it right there. The lightning striking.
So
Oh
I
my
got a
God.
question for you guys real
Yeah.
quick. So, do you think Darnell Mooney, in your honest opinion, is a true number one? In your guys' opinion?
No.
No, I was hesitant even coming in,
Yeah.
but he looked so damn good in training camp with his route running. Like,
He's a good wide receiver. He's just not a number one. That's
But
okay to say.
The only thing is, right, last year he had over 1,000 yards with everything going on with the offense.
yeah.
And like you said, how he looked in the preseason, his route running. Like, he is an elite route runner. You know, or he looked it in training camp and whatnot. And last year, I mean, the ability to get separation. I don't know. I guess I thought he would be off to a hot start. Him and Fields, that connection, they just –
Well, who did they have last year? They had Allen Robinson, and I know Bears fans want to drag Allen Robinson through the streets because he didn't do well last
they had
year.
to account for him.
But you
people
have to
focus on.
account for
So
him.
that's why Mooney was able to get
Right,
open.
and that's what I'm saying. You give Velus Jones
Yeah.
out there, even if he does nothing, if anything, he's going to have eyes on him.
Yeah, right.
You're gonna need more than Valus to.
I understand that,
you
but
know.
for this year,
right,
I will say it's
one B.
and Nikhil,
I'm concerned about it. After 2 games,
Yeah.
2 catches, 4 yards.
I think in this offseason, I was saying Julio Jones was available, and people can say whatever they want about him. He's past his prime. He's still explosive out there.
Yeah.
So I think they could have nabbed him in the offseason just to get eyes on him.
And
Right?
they-
He's a big physical guy that people have to account for.
And they weren't in any position to do this. I get it. We're Bears are trying to acquire draft picks, not get rid of them. But a lot of receivers changed hands last year, and Tua was not good, and Tua was out of his mind today, and Tyreek is helping that situation. So they matter.
So I think we all agree we needed another weapon at receiver position.
Something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's when the 2 weapons you do have combined for 2 catches and 4 yards in 2 games. Because I'm including Cole
disheartening.
Kmet in there. That's really, you got to sound some alarms on that one. Real quick, we got to get to a ton of super chats. I want to share this. We mentioned this earlier about Jalen Johnson, but I wanted to give the full context from Next Gen Stats. Bears cornerback Jalen Johnson was not targeted in coverage as the nearest defender for the 2nd consecutive game. He now has gone 61 consecutive coverage snaps without being targeted, dating back to Week 18 of last season. There have been 42 outside corners who have played 50-plus coverage snaps through their team's first 2 games. Every other outside cornerback not named Jalen Johnson has been targeted at least 7 times, and he's at 0.
So
Somebody's doing something right.
They're putting respect on his name with
Yeah.
a K. So it's
And
good
then-
to see that we have one stable at the corner position. Obviously, it's only been 2 games with Gordon, but, I think just the way he was in the preseason and the fact that he was supposedly supposed to be a first-round pick, we just thought we'd see, especially from last week, right? It was the first game. but we thought we'd see him improve. And
I mean, I understand some rookie mistakes here and there, but if they're not targeting Jalen Johnson, that means you're getting opportunities.
Exactly.
And one PBU on a ball where you actually technically got beat at the line.
Yeah. And if he throws it a little quicker, that's 6 all day.
Probably.
So.
And they're also they're in nickel. They're in nickel a lot. So it's like, okay, I can go at Vildor, I can go at Gordon. Okay, I'll leave you alone. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but I do think it is at least a slight indictment of who else they have out there.
All right, we got a lot of super chats to get through, and we got to get through the notes too. Let's try to fly through these as fast as possible. Although Braggs is not in a hurry to get home.
Me neither,
because
I'm not walking through this rain.
pouring
So
rain.
take your time.
Swanky32, $4.99 super chat. Justin, instead of going out to Tao nightclub on Friday, stay home and study the playbook. Not
Don't
cool.
do that.
Yeah,
Come
honestly,
on,
I wish I
man.
hadn't read that out loud.
Yeah,
He's entitled to live his life. I got no problem with that.
Exactly. Like, you gotta live his life. I mean, if he would have lit it up, you wouldn't be saying that tonight. You know, if he would have been throwing for 300 yards and stuff. Guys gotta have fun, but guess he's got a game plan better. Simple as that, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got to give him more than 11 attempts, and I know the defense didn't help him at all. You got to get more than 11 attempts to actually be able to do something, get some rhythm, get some consistency.
Michael Jordan was playing poker till 4 a.m. every night before games. So.
Michael Jordan, the one time, went out golfing with what was it, Jeremy Roenick or whatever. And I think they did 18, and he drank a 12-pack and then played again before his 7 o'clock.
They can have lives.
Yeah, well, one's got to earn his way into 23 zone.
That's true.
I'm pro.
Just saying, people can have lives.
That's yes, and I don't mind. I wouldn't mind if one was sitting at home with a little hot cocoa and a little
Saturday's
little
a light day. It's a walkthrough. They travel to Green Bay. It's mostly meetings. As long as he was there, it's fine.
Yeah.
Ethan Smith says, "Did we pay Pringle, or as Carm called them, Pringles, to not play and run motion?"
We played him to not play.
Well, he didn't even run the motion right.
I'll
the
run
false
motion.
start.
This seemed like all the receivers aren't getting enough targets. I mean, simple as that.
Someone's got to get targets. Like
St.
that's
Brown
the thing.
has been the most, most
Yeah.
targets out there. It seems like Justin Fields seems pretty comfortable, but I think at best he's a number 3,
Yeah, that's what my concern with.
We need the Mitch Trubisky, Tampa Bay Bucks 6 touchdown game defense to show up for this Bears team to get some rhythm going.
Yeah, 100%.
Don't know if that's ever happening again. All right, Karthik says, complete team loss, terrible play calling by Getsy, poor awareness by Fields, Roquan / secondary getting beat, no halftime adjustments, just atrocious.
I think they did make halftime adjustments.
It was 3-3 in the second half.
Yeah.
I mean,
they had a chance to get it to 7 points, right? And then if you get a stop there, you're talking about a different game. So we're going.
We
through all
almost
the
did something.
hypotheticals.
Let's
But,
throw the parade.
almost covered.
Yeah, I mean,
almost covered.
It was a tough one. Roquan looked out of position a lot of times. Like we said, I feel like that's the worst game we've seen probably in his career.
That was not good.
He just didn't look good. He was catching blockers. He wasn't shocking and locking. He wasn't running around with the typical Roquan speed that we're used to.
Shocking and locking.
Shocking and
and
boom,
locking.
boom.
Okay.
Yeah, getting those guys off you.
Okay.
I mean, Green Bay, hats off to them. I mean, they out-executed the Bears. They said we're going to run the ball down their throats. They did it. And, yeah, the tackling was poor, but you cannot expect, Eddie Jackson one-on-one against Aaron Jones or Dillon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With a
Gordon,
head
too.
full of, steam running at them, 10 yards down the field. So they were in bad positions all day. It's tough.
All right, Brendan says, you think momentum got killed by the ticky-tack calls in the beginning, like the low but no-hit block? Look, there were some ticky-tack calls early in that game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge fan of that rule to begin with, that you can't cut the offensive lineman on the edge like that. I understand the safety concerns, but it really you have no chance then.
Yeah.
Like, you're literally telling those DBs,
Just get blown up.
there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Because if you can't go low on a man who outweighs you by like 150 pounds, what are you supposed to do? You can't do anything. So I'm not a big fan of that rule. And then I guess my point is, like, if no contact really is made, it shouldn't be a penalty. Like, the guy avoided him.
So how can that be a penalty? But then a cut block where Kayvon Thibodeau got cut right on
Oh, yeah.
on that sift play right where the tight end come. I mean, if you're gonna call that, you might as well call that. You might as well ban that, because I think that's more dangerous than a DB cutting a lineman. He's gonna fall over him most of the time. I mean, it's to protect him. They're gonna get concussions over there trying to hit those guys up top.
And it certainly didn't help. Hey, Cody. Hi. How you doing? Ryan says, Bears-Packers is our Super Bowl. We all know it's early for the staff. The sky isn't falling, but let's not pretend this is just another game. I don't think anyone is.
No.
Yeah,
7 in a row, man. They've lost 7 in a row now to Green Bay.
2018, last time they beat them.
Especially at Lambeau. I mean, they're pretty lights out. I had this from the beginning of the season. I know you guys probably did, marked as a loss. I mean, before everything, I know you were getting on the bandwagon with the 49ers, but realistically, right?
I did it. Yeah.
Yeah, you had it as a loss. So 1-1 at this point.
Adam did too.
I know.
Me and Adam.
I think this game next week against Houston is a must-win.
You got those. That's one of the ones you circled before the season. You said that should be one of the X amount of wins that you were predicting.
And I feel like it's going to be critical for the offense, right? Because Lovey has those Houston Texans playing some defense.
Yep.
They gave Russell Wilson some fits today, last week as well. So, hey, this will be a good test for them to see what kind of adjustments Getsy and company are making coming into this week.
We are winning next week at our tailgate. Every person that I meet next week at the tailgate is going to be a victory.
Sure.
I don't even want
starting at 8 a.m., $34, all you can eat and drink.
And I don't want to even go to the concept of even the remote thought of doing the post-game show next week if they lose to the Texans. I really don't want that for anyone.
I hate to say it, the two teams aren't far off.
No,
of course, they're honestly mirror images. They run the same exact stuff defensively. Lovie Smith is one of Matt Eberflus' mentors. Okay, so defensively, they pretty much run the same stuff. Offensively, they both have second-year quarterbacks. You can make a strong argument Davis Mills has actually been better than Fields so far.
And the defense has been better, the Texans as a whole.
Neither team has any wide receivers, and both teams can run the ball.
I know you all loved Lovey, but I would love to beat Lovey.
I mean, we have to win this game. If we have any chance this season on making a push, winning some games, this week is a must-win game.
Giants game might be the same way too.
Another super chat from Ryan. Tacky play calling, built for talent we don't have, under the guise of creativity, is absolutely killing us. I gotta be honest. I only had a problem with a couple plays here and there. I didn't have a problem with the overall philosophy. He came in with a game plan to run the ball. The run was working. The only time the offense really stalled was when they got away from the run. Mm-hmm. Okay, I just think it was in key moments. There was a 2nd and 3. Where then they threw the ball. I thought they should have kept running there. After what we just lived through with the Matt Nagy era, I'm not going to sit here in game 2 and be like they should have thrown the ball more. I'm not going to be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of was that guy already, but I
get your point is you have to figure out Fields as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'm not worried about this game. I'm not if we're going big picture again, I'm not worried about next week like you're saying must win. None of these games to me are must wins or whatever. I
must play well.
Yeah, it's must develop Fields. Let's go.
Joe says, I'm so sick of being a Bears fan. The offense has been trash for over a decade, spanning multiple GMs, coaches, and quarterbacks. It is painful to watch.
Joe, can I talk to you for a minute? I want to talk to you.
Okay, here we go.
Mano y mano, right?
Being a fan of a team that's not great, that's not the Patriots or even the Packers for their extended run where, yes, they should have gotten more than 2 Super Bowls with Rodgers and Favre. Being a fan of the Chicago Bears and waiting for a moment that you don't know is going to come is the ultimate payoff. It is the beauty of you. It is the beauty of this city. You grind, you hope, you believe when there is no belief. Just embrace it, because one day 2005 will come on the south side, 2016 will come on the north side. Somehow, miraculously, a guy by the name of MJ will drop into the world, and then you'll have all of a sudden Patrick Kane and Jonathan Tays will be here too. Okay, I'll stop talking.
No, I liked that. Okay. I liked that.
Yeah, okay.
That was nice.
Blame Carm.
Blame Carm. Hashtag blame Carm. You think the
Lawrence
Bears?
looked like he was going to kill me.
Knight 6776. Do you think the Bears start looking at the quarterback draft class this year? I'll tell you what. regardless of what Fields is doing, they should be looking at quarterbacks. Always look at quarterbacks. That's my thought.
I think it depends how he progresses this season, to be honest with you, right? If he's looking like this, towards the end of the season, I think they're definitely going to be looking at a different quarterback. I think he has the skills. I think it's just about the play calling, man. And people can say whatever they want, but
players.
Yeah.
Players around him. I mean, Tua. How bad did Tua look last year, right?
Yeah.
What did he throw
Now he's got
for?
Tyreek Hill
What did he
and-
throw for today? Because he's got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle running wild for that team.
And Gesicki going up, catching a touchdown catch he had, the first one, he was like, I mean, most tight ends in the league don't catch that.
They're making plays
And he
for
went
him,
up and
too.
got it. Yeah.
He's not putting it perfect
Right.
on the line every time, but they're making plays for him. You got to get playmakers. They arguably have one of the best tight ends catching the ball in the league, right? You can make an argument for Gesicki, and then Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I mean, probably one of the best tandems in the league. So they surrounded him with talent. We would have liked that this season, but this is what we have. This is what we have to work with. So Getsy has the game plan around this.
When your head hits the pillow, and I think of the Steelers game last year, it's in there. The talent's
It's in there somewhere. Yeah, I'm with you. They gotta get it out. All right, time for Carm's. Oh,
What up, JR?
with the Bears drafting in the top 10 next year, would it be smart to see if Justin Fields is our guy? This season should be about development, not wins. Yeah, I think we just addressed that. So thank you for the super chat, though. I appreciate it. All right, Carm's notes.
All right.
Here we go. Ooh.
Whoa.
Look
That
at
is
Carm's
just
notes.
So damn
It doesn't
adorable.
look like your penmanship, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Also, they made this nice graphic with your yellow pad. You come out with the blue pad today.
Who said that I had to always go?
got the yellow.
Look at Braggs just trying to be like me over there with his yellow.
Identity theft is not a joke.
You should be more like Braggs, and I hope next week you cook like he did today.
Bang.
The man owned the grill.
All right, so this is a brief one tonight because I think I was just like so stunned by what was going on tonight that I took less notes, but I still got some really good ones here.
Okay.
Corey Wootton early. I can watch football all day. Like, no, I found that
Shocker there.
And then we all really enjoyed when the Bears were announcing themselves that Robert Quinn went with his elementary school.
That was a good one.
Which is straight Robert Quinn. Woot, you're back on the front page here again with Quinn giving up the edge, which was not ideal. And then Braggs, you're on the front page here too with when the Packers started out well early. Me and my big fucking mouth.
As he stormed off, he walked out of the room. Me and my big fucking
Well, because in the
mouth.
pregame I said they don't have the guy to get off the field or to get the 3rd and 8, and the Bears were going to get off the field, and then they start firing away on 3rd and 8, stabbing me in the heart repeatedly.
2 run plays, a missed tackle. Some of my writing what was down, but then Braggs is freaking out again with Mustafa, man. A little bit upset there with the old center. And then both you, Adam, and Woot, you were. I'm getting the Hoge is on special moment. It's on page 3 here, but Cole Kmet blocking a defensive back, so he didn't do that either. You gotta be kidding me, was the comment going around.
That was on that little swing pass.
Yeah.
Over there.
To
He's
Mooney.
one-on-one on
gotta
a
make the
defensive
block,
back.
man.
He's got to snatch him up, put his hands inside his chest plate, and drive him to the ground. You can't do that. Can't miss a block on
Not
that.
a good night for Cole Kmet.
Woot going into halftime when we were all basically dead. They can come back and win this game. Adjustments 101. I was like, they can?
Hey, if they didn't call a shotgun on 4th and goal at the 1-inch line,
7-point game.
maybe you never know.
And then Hoge coming in on the Josh Blackwell solid coverage play. Gunner, get him.
Got a little excited there.
Yes, special teams coach.
Blue notepad is 0-1, by the way.
That was also when Kevin Kadix jumped in with his dad was definitely turned the game off and was asleep. Had a contest. Pop was gone.
I think my response was, I'm jealous.
Yeah, right. Oh, you're right. And that's at the top of this page. Hoge, I'm jealous. 3rd and 22, Braggs. If they don't get off the field, I'm flipping this table.
And Hoge
I pulled my
removed his
laptop.
He said, "Nah, man,
like
it's
the
expensive, man."
He goes, I'll replace it. And I'm like, yeah, but it's a glass table. Do you know how much of a mess this would be?
And then the last one here that I have is, you know what's going to happen. As the Bears were about to score, Aaron Rodgers is going to get a touchdown, and da-da-da-da-da-da. We were still – I forget who said that. But
Kevin did, and then I lost my mind.
Yeah, and that would be the end of Carm's notes for week 2. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Can I just say something while you're looking through your notes, too? I heard an interview earlier in the week with Jalen Johnson saying, he wanted to bring back Club Dub, and he was going to talk to the coaches about that. And this is something for me that was a big sticking point, and I'll welcome you to rebut me after as the former player that was in locker rooms. So I'm definitely speaking out of turn as someone that's never been in an NFL locker room. But at the same time, there was nothing that pissed me off more as a Bears fan the last 3 years than Club Dub. Club Dub had its day in 2018, and it washed up real quick. And to me, it's a mentality thing. We brought up Michael Jordan. I know I'm getting, people talking crap about it in the chat and Carman saying slow down. But you know what they did? When they went 72-10, they wore a shirt that said, "It don't mean a thing until we win the ring." And I don't like Club Dub. I don't want it around. It's a bad mentality. It's a bad precedent. Have a higher standard than one win over the 49ers for yourself. I understand that you want to celebrate your victories. I'm not saying don't celebrate them, but I just feel like Club Dub is in the past. That was the former coaching staff. Leave it in the past. I don't want to see it. Make the playoffs before you start club dubbing. Beat Green Bay before you start club dubbing. I don't want to see it. I'm sorry, Jalen Johnson. Set it to the side. Focus on getting better every single day, and then get to it. Corey, now you can tell me to keep my mouth shut and worry about being
Greg
a fan.
is upset at this Club Dub. No, I agree. You got to start some kind of new tradition. But I think you should enjoy the wins because you guys know this. It's hard to win in the National Football League. Whoever you're going against, whether it's the worst team in the league or the best team, right? It's very hard to win on Sunday. So you got to celebrate for a little bit and then move on, right? Because you got to enjoy the victories. Anytime you get off the field healthy, you get a win, it's something to celebrate about it. I like the Club Dub because I feel like it brought all the fans a part of that, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like you probably had a Club Dub shirt, did you?
I didn't get the Club Dub shirt, but I'd be lying if I didn't say I did. I loved it in 2018. Yeah. But it got stale extremely quickly.
Yeah, if you're not winning games and not
then
being
you're club
consistent,
dubbing after you lose 5 in a row and you win one against the worthless Giants, and you're running to the locker room to sorry.
But it's still a win, though, right? You got to enjoy the victories. You got to. You got to have fun, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, it's serious and all this, but you have to have fun and enjoy the game, right? And that was a cool little concept.
I'm just imagining Jalen Johnson walking into Flus's office and be like, "Hey, Coach."
That's what I'm saying. He said he was going to talk to him.
Yeah, he's not talking to him.
See, here's where I agree with you, though, Braggs, because I think the celebrations need to be authentic. And having sort of this gimmicky forced thing that you're going to do every time you win, it becomes stale when you start to lose.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just have these organic moments, which is why I actually believe it or not, I talked to a couple people this week that took exception to what the Bears did at the end of the game last week when they won with basically the whole team slide in the end zone. Yeah. And kind of the pushback was act like you've been there before. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but to me that was a special moment. It was a crazy game with the weather. To me, that's an authentic celebration for that specific game that goes in line with what you're saying, Corey, which is enjoy the wins when you get them. But I'm with you. When you have something forced like that sort of gets stale over time. Plus, it gave us this amazing shirt that you should go
the turnover
buy at
chain
CHGO.
from Miami, right? That was a big deal for them. That was cool.
Yeah.
Everybody would.
And everybody tried to steal it, and it was.
And it gets
not
stale.
as cool.
You have to reinvent yourself and come up, like you said.
So what would you do? What's after wins? Is there anything you do to celebrate, or you just move on?
No,
to the next
hard hat, lunch pail.
Oh, lunch pail guy.
Yeah,
I got it.
I'm a bricklayer, so when I go to work, I get my house. We finish a house. Guess what? It's on to the next house.
Yeah. You are out of your mind. Did you see yourself earlier today when the Bears went up 7-3?
Exactly.
If
Act
you were
like
on
you've been there before.
If you were on the football team and you just won a game and been busted your ass and got hit in the nose for 3 hours, you'd walk into that thing. You think you'd be like, on to the next one. You would hug every single.
And this is the thing. And like I said, I grew up on Michael Jeffrey Jordan, so everything I think about in sports surrounds how he taught me what sports are all about. And I just know Michael Jordan would never do that kind of crap. He was solely focused on ripping your heart out. And when he beat you, all he was thinking about is how he could do it again. He wasn't celebrating. He was thinking about how he could take you out for poker that night and take your money later. He wasn't thinking about
don't you think it's a
dancing.
different era? Like nowadays, like there's social media and everything. So they could have been doing that afterwards. We really didn't know.
It's also different sports. I mean, like a football game, there's only 16 or 17 of them.
You got to enjoy the victory.
No.
Okay.
No,
Listen, I'm just
hard hat, lunch pail, get to work.
Oh,
All
right.
Can they do high fives?
High fives are fine.
Okay.
High fives are
The
good.
QB slide, the slide was fun. That
It was
fun. Like you
organic.
said,
It was sweet.
authentic.
They were.
I'm sorry, rant over.
I got one positive note for you. Otherwise, we've gone through everything in my notebook. But let's not forget it. The touchdown was pretty good play design. Getting Fields on the run
Was.
and you put the defensive back in conflict where basically he can't win. If he comes at you, you toss it over his head for an easy touchdown. If he stays with the receiver, which in that case was the running back, then you let the guy turn around, block him, and then you walk into the end zone. It's actually a little bit harder than it should have been, but good play design, well run. Bears got the touchdown, so a positive note there. And then also, big picture-wise, every single Bears fan in the world would have taken 1-1 after 2 weeks.
Yes.
That's
So-
what I said. 1-1 is a win all day because I had this as a loss. I said if they could be 2-1 after next week, it's a pretty good start to the season.
So, we got one more super chat to sneak in. Then we're out of here. Swanky32, what does Justin need to do to improve next week?
Exactly what you said. Have that run pass option to start off the game, right?
Yeah.
Get his confidence up because it seems like once they can get the running game going with Montgomery or he's on the move, that's when he gets confident passing the ball. So you got to think about it. Get his confidence up, Luke Getsy. We're going to see how you are as a game plan caller, right? How you're going to script for success. That's what we talked about, getting his confidence, molding this young quarterback. Let's see what you're going to bring to the table against a talented Houston front. You know, we're gonna see Lovey's going to try to get after him. So it's going to be a good test.
All right. Final thoughts?
Final thoughts is that when they beat the Texans next week, I would like to see Braggs do a 2-1 victory dance on the set. That's what I'd like to see.
I will be fired up.
Club Brags, right?
Club Brags.
CB. No, final thoughts is this. Let's not freak out. You know, it was fun to kind of freak out on the show, and just kind of enjoy a Sunday night together. But hey, it's a big week for the Bears coming home. Week 3.
Yep.
Let's get the quarterback going, and I think I personally would feel a whole lot better. Let's hit 200 yards next week. How's that? Let's get to 200.
It's at 70 passing yards.
Yeah.
It's got to – I'm sorry. That's got to improve.
Yeah.
It's got to improve. It just has
Got to stop the run. Got to have more passing yardage. The run game, I think, is where it should be, you know.
Demo was great. Not good, great.
Another conspiracy theory on the spread here. Super chat. No more super chats. Next super chat has to take my son to the bus in the morning.
Said Braggs, bring your lunch pail to the victory. Lunch pail.
I'll bring the lunch pail next
pail
week.
You don't even have a lunch pail. I bet you get it from the food truck, don't you? Look at you. Oh my. He's not even a
I've
lunch
been
pail
getting
guy.
Subway lately,
Look
but
at him.
I'll bring a lunch pail, a lunch box.
Cody's starting Club Brags. That's what we got to start. Club Brags.
No clubbing.
No
No clubbing.
Lunch pail.
Get to work.
man.
Get up tomorrow and get to work.
All right. Bears lose. It's okay. We're all going to go home, get a little bit of sleep, watch the film, see what happened, relive it again.
Back
and
here
then
at
be
noon.
right back here at noon tomorrow with another show for you. Corey will be here. Carm will be here. Braggs will be with his lunch pail
I'll
actually
be
working.
laying them bricks.
He'll be.
There you go.
What's work like the day after a loss?
My bosses talk a lot of crap, make fun of me, even though they're Bears fans, but they're the type that pick them to lose every week. I have to pay my boss $5 every time they lose, so we bet on every game. So I'll be getting a lot of shit.
You pick the
tomorrow.
Bears every game and have to.
I pick them. I pick them to win every game. He picks them to lose every
You've
game.
lost a lot of money.
We did this with the Cubs, too. Guess how much I owe him? A lot.
Are they tuning into this?
No.
Oh, okay.
PD's fast asleep, but he'll be ready for me in the morning talking a lot of crap. So I'll be up 7 a.m. laying the bricks. Everybody in the chat better be at work. I don't want to hear anybody calling off work because of this. Get to work.
Love it.
Well, take the day off if you want. New world. Do you want to?
Take the day off. Watch this show. We'll be here at noon. We'll bring loaves of bread. We'll hand out some loaves.
Oh, man.
It's not going to be
man.
good. All right. Follow us on Twitter. Make sure you check us out, allchgo.com. Plenty of written content up there if you want more. Breaking down the game. Nick's got the coverage from Lambeau. We'll be back here tomorrow at noon. Talk to you then.